Hello and welcome to The Big Picture. I am Tina Jha. The Supreme Court on Tuesday stayed the implementation of the 3 new farm laws till further orders and constituted a 4-member committee to listen to the concerns of the farmers and to make recommendations in order to resolve the issue. Passing the order on a batch of petitions challenging the constitutional validity of the 3 laws, the court said the stay on them may assuage the hurt feelings of the farmers and encourage them to come to the negotiating table with confidence. The bench, headed by Chief Justice S.A. Bobde, also noted that negotiations between the farmers' unions and the government have not yielded any results so far, and the constitution of a committee of experts in the field of agriculture to negotiate may create a congenial atmosphere and improve the trust and confidence of the farmers. The committee shall, upon hearing the government as well as the representatives of the farmers' bodies and also the other stakeholders, submit a report before the Apex Court containing its recommendations. The top court has asked the committee to hold its first sitting by the 22nd of January and submit its report to the court within 2 months from the date of its first sitting. So will the Supreme Court's intervention and the expert committee be able to resolve this deadlock? This is what we will discuss on The Big Picture today. Joining me on the program are Mr. P. Chengal Reddy, Chairman, Federation of Farmers Associations, Dr. M.J. Khan, Chairman, Indian Council of Food and Agriculture, and Mr. Sandeep Das, Agriculture Expert, Research and Policy Analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on this edition of The Big Picture on Rajya Sabha TV. Okay, coming to you, Mr. Khan, on your perspective, how hopeful are you of the Supreme Court appointed panel being able to break the deadlock?
I think this panel, let me put it in correct perspective, is not formed to negotiate on behalf of the government. It has been created, it has been formed, constituted by the Supreme Court to assist the Supreme Court. Now, in the process of assisting the Supreme Court, it might hold dialogue with various stakeholders, and that is the purpose of it, to ascertain the applicability, the benefits of these laws, the farmers' perspective, and other key stakeholders who matter. So essentially, this group, we should not look forward to some kind of solution it will come up with. It will, observe, it will list down its own understanding and recommendations and submit the report to the Supreme Court. Now, finally, either in the process of this committee completing its term, the government itself, in consultation with the farmers, finds a way out and the solution, or ultimately, court, after understanding, taking this cognizance of the report, might act as it may deem appropriate.
Okay. Mr. Khan, what if they refuse to appear before this committee? Then what is the way forward?
See, the formality of appearing before the joining the meetings with the ministers, that has gone on with the same composition, same agenda, same stated positions, and the result has been the same after every meeting. So whether say 8 rounds or 18 rounds, if narrative does not change, if the composition does not change, if the softening of stand does not change, probably the result would be the same in the 18th round of meeting also. About this committee, farmers' perspective has been that they are not for any committee. They would rather like to put pressure on the government to yield to their demands. And the demands are scrap the 3 legislations. The question arises that the government hypothetically takes the step of scrapping all the 3 legislations, then what will happen to the farmers who have been looking forward to benefit from the ecosystem that these 3 legislations put together create?
Yes.
So that will be very unfortunate. Rather, if these farmers had been asking for the amendment to their areas of objection, so benefits that this legislation promised, that plus the objections, if any, addressed by the government, put together, would have given them wonderful gift in a way, not only to the farmers of Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh, but rest of the country would have been celebrating. Now, coming to this committee, unfortunately, farmers have chosen to react very negatively, pointing out to the ability of the committee to act impartially, given their stated positions or their support so far to the farm bills. The question here is that most of the experts have been supporting the reforms. Therefore, any experts nominated in this committee were likely to be questioned for their impartiality. So these two economists are the eminent economists. I hope farmers should have the confidence in them. Uh, Despite the fact that there are some articles may have been not convenient to the agitating farmers.
Mr. Khan, do you agree with Mr. Reddy that there is no way, or if we look for a resolution, the government says no repeal, the agitating farmers say repeal is the only way. Do you see a middle path going ahead?
I think of all the objections that farmers had raised related to these three legislations, or even outside the ambit of these legislations, for example, the penalty on burning of the stubble, the electricity reforms bill, government agreed to accept all those, additionally giving MSP in writing which the farmers were demanding. The only thing that remains, where probably 90-95% of the farmers' objections will be addressed, and the entire build-up that is happening today will slowly disappear, is the applicability of the MSP on trade. So there have been discussions that whether both the sides can come down one step from their stated positions. Farmers leaving the demand of scrapping of the three legislations, and government saying that MSP is not possible on the trade. So there is a calculation done that what are going to be the implications if MSP is applied on the trade, which means no one will be allowed to procure below declared MSP. So what are they going to be, implications in terms of inflation, implication in terms of market distortion, and how exports will be affected? So there are various implications that we have analyzed in one very high-powered sitting. So by and large, there was opinion that if the crisis to be averted, this is possible that government might take a positive step. So now there is a need for what Mr. Chengaleddy said. I would like to add on that if back channels work now, then I think solutions can be found out. What happens is face to face, both sides stick to their stated positions very firmly. Anybody who talks logic is seen as diluting the agenda and therefore seen as not, having full integrity with the agitation. So therefore, there's a competition in showing the higher integrity by becoming more hard and hard. So here is the role of the back channel diplomacy. The government side seems to be slightly inclined now to the idea that, okay, some discussion can take place on that, looking into what could be the implication. So that, I think, creates the common ground. Unfortunately, this committee, as soon as it was formed, the farmers, first they rejected the committee, then they started commenting on the composition of the committee, that these are the members who are known for their support. Therefore, agitating farmers are not going to cooperate with this committee. This is a fait accompli of this committee. Rest everyone will come forward and support. So I think probably back channel must work at this moment.